Hi, and welcome back. My name is Paul, and this is my assistant. Your name is?
Alyssa.
All right, and today we have an empty barrel, a 3-pound tumbler barrel, and we got some new material today. So we are going to start a series on tumbling wild horse picture jasper. I'm pretty excited about this. I've seen some stuff that turns out really nice, and we ordered 10 pounds, and we got it from Richardson's Rock Ranch, I think it is, out of Oregon, and I got a really good price on it, and they were easy to deal with. And I've got, like, this piece is wet. It's got some browns and blues, and some of it's just brown, and they say they call it picture jasper because they look like a scene, like with the sky and the mountains in the background. So I've seen some that looks really nice, so we decided we would give it a try. And we are going to tumble it in the 3-pound barrel. I have the larger ones over here that we might end up putting in the larger barrel that we have, but that'll be a separate thing. But we're going to tumble this, and we'll check it every week, and we'll look at our progress, and we will roll it through the lortone on coarse grit until it's ready to move medium, and then we will move it over to the lotto tumbler and do all of our medium and polish, or pre-polish and polish. So we're going to move over to our bench, and we will load up the barrel, and we'll look at some of the rocks before we put them in so we can kind of track them through the week. So we'll get the camera moved over. Alright, so we've got our empty barrel, and we've got a few pieces of this new picture jasper. That one I think is going to look really cool. It's got some blue and some brown on it, and so does this one. So I think we've got enough here. This one's got some darker colors and the blue, and we've got some pieces that are mostly just tan, but I've seen some of those that turn out pretty nice also. We're going to load up some of the larger pieces here. There's Alyssa's favorite piece. That one's wet yet. And we've got some more pieces that have a little bit of blue and brown. So we've got all those in. Close. And we've got some smaller pieces in here. You kind of want some bigger pieces and some smaller pieces. And this first week, they've got such sharp edges, they'll break down a lot in this first week, and they won't take up near as much space in the barrel. So we've got that all loaded up with the bigger pieces and smaller pieces. We're closer to 3/4, but like I say, the very first week, those sharp edges, they will round down really fast and take up a lot less space in the barrel, so we'll be all right. So we got our rocks in, and we'll get some water in there. They say just below the level of the rocks, and I go a little bit less because I've seen some things saying that if you have less water, it kind of rounds them down faster in the coarse grit. So I go less than more. All right, I don't know if you can see the water in there. It's just below the rock level. What's up, Liz? Oh yeah, tell them.
And everybody, if you like this video, I give a thumbs up in the comments.
Yeah. All right, so we got our rocks, we got our water, and actually today I think we're gonna run our, I've been running the 4670 coarse grit, but I think it's better in the larger barrel that we have. So we're going to run this is 80 grit, and we're going to see what this does. So this is straight 80 grit silica carbide. We're going to do 3 tablespoons because we got a 3-pound barrel, and it'll run for a week. So we got to count them. 1,
2, 3,
and that's all.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Yep. All right, so got our water, got our grit, got our first rocks out of our wild horse picture jasper, and we will put this on the tumbler, roll it for a week, and we will be back next week to show you the progress. All right, today our picture jasper has been in 80 grit for a week. So we'll wash it out. That's what it looks like. Awful brown. I wouldn't assume that anything is going to be done and ready to go to medium today, but you never know. We will clean it all up, and we'll look at it and kind of show you the difference between this first week is the biggest change you'll see from the really jagged edges that you have to being more rounded. So we'll kind of look at that a little bit, see how much it changed. All right, there we go. Watch out, bro. You're gonna get a little wet. It'll be all right.
Fit in my face this time.
Yeah.
Ooh. Water.
All right. Oh, look at the rocks. So, yeah, they're looking really nice. You can see.
Ooh, this rock is pretty.
This is how sharp and jagged the edges were when we started. They were all like that. And you can see how rounded and rolled and smooth the corners have gotten in 1 week. And I'm running straight 80 grit on the coarse on this one. I've got 4670, but I roll that in my bigger tumbler, and I'm going to try to use the 80 grit on this and see how it does. Unless it takes too long, maybe we'll try the other stuff. But we will wash it and check it over and see if there's anything ready to move on. And if there is, we'll report back. Well, after the first week, as expected, nothing's ready to move to medium grit, but these are a couple of our favorites that we decided that we'd kind of start watching these ones through the process. I like this one. It's got the mix of brown and blue, and then this one kind of has the same nice mix of the brown and the blue and some lines on it and stuff, and they're kind of nice bigger pieces. So, but they need some time yet. So we'll put those back in, and our barrel is basically only about half full. It's hard to see on the camera. So we'll add some new stuff because everything in there obviously got smaller. And I think I'll take that one off. And we'll run with that. I think I got a little much on the water. And we'll do 3 more tablespoons of the 80 grit coarse. 1, 2, and 3. All right, we'll seal that up and get it on the tumbler, and it'll go for another week, and we'll check back and see how it looks in another week. All right, today the picture jasper has been in coarse grit for 2 weeks. Other than the new stuff we put in last week, that's only been in for a week, but the majority is at 2 weeks now. That's what we got in the barrel. And stuff all the grit. That's what we're looking like right now. Starting to get rounded off pretty nice. I kind of doubt anything will be ready to go to medium grit yet after 2 weeks, but we will see. I will go through it, and after I do, we'll be back. We'll look at maybe a couple pieces, see how they're doing, and see what we need to add. All right, so after 2 weeks, there isn't anything ready to go to medium, but we've got a few that are really, really close. I'm pretty happy with how fast it's rounding down running this straight 80 grit, because I normally run the 4670, but this 80 grit I had, so I wanted to use it. I was going to look at a couple of the kind of my favorites. This one's got some neat lines, almost like a little sunset going on that one. Kind of neat. It's got a little bit of like red on it here almost. Not much, most of this doesn't have any red. It's mostly browns and blues, but that one's pretty nice. And then I also like this one. It's one of the bigger pieces, and the back of it is just nice and rounded already. It's just got a little spot right there, and there's a little chip right there that we're going to try to get rid of. But for the most part, that one's looking really nice for being in coarse grit for 2 weeks. And then this is another one that I saw that's got, it's got some rough stuff going on yet, but it's got some red on it. That's pretty neat. And a lot of the dark blue, I really like that dark blue color that it has there. And this one's another one that's really close. It's got a little flaw. So, looks like we've got room for maybe one more or a couple of small ones. A lot of these are big. I think that's going to work. We'll put those in there. The water's in there already. We're running straight 80 grit for our coarse. That's a 3-pound barrel. So I've been running 3 tablespoons of the grit, and we just run for 7 days. So, there we got our 3 tablespoons. I will button it up and get it on the tumbler, and we'll let it go another week. We will be back after 3 weeks. The Wild Horse Picture Jasper has been rolling for 3 weeks, and I've already gone through and washed it. We have this that is ready to move the next stage. We got 6 little ones ready to move to the next stage, and our level in the tumbler is it's down to just over half, I'd say. So we've got room to add some more. I think that should be enough. And we will do 3 more tablespoons of the 80 grit, 80 coarse grit. Water's already in there. And I'll get it buttoned up and on the tumbler, and they'll roll for another week. Okay, it's been 4 weeks of tumbling this Wild Horse Picture Jasper in the 80 grit course in the rotary tumbler, and I'm really happy with how fast it's so far. It seems like it's been moving along pretty quick compared to some other stuff I've tumbled. So I've already gone through and I've washed, and that's how full the barrel still is. And we have these ones that are done, and actually they're looking really nice. That's one of my favorite pieces that we had in there, and it is pretty well exactly where I want it to be. So I've got that one done, and there's 4 other ones. I've got another one here that's a pretty good size one. It doesn't have as much stuff going on, kind of bare on the back, but this one I really like because I like that blue color, that dark blue in it. But so we've got 5 more done this week. So we've got that much done in a month. And we're ready to add some more stuff to the barrel. And, you know, take a rock like that, and it started like this. And in a month's time, it has rolled down to those rounded corners and smooth everywhere. So I'm really happy with the progress on this in the time, like I say, compared to some other stuff I've tumbled. So we'll add some more here. We got quite a bit of room because we took some pretty good size ones out. I think I need some more little stuff though. So we're going to throw in some of these smaller scraps. And all right, we'll do 3 tablespoons of the, I've been running the straight 80 grit in this. All right, we will put that back on the tumbler, roll another week, and we'll check it again next week. Today our Picture Jasper's been rolling for 5 weeks, and we just have those 2 little pieces that were ready to move on. And there's a lot of big pieces in here that are really, really close, but they're not ready yet. So we've got 2 more pieces that are ready to move on. So after 5 weeks, we've got that much that's ready to move to the next stage. So it seemed like it was moving pretty quick at first, but now it seems like it's slowed down a bit, but I've got big hopes for next week. I think we should have a pretty good amount done next week. So I've got my water and 3 tablespoons of the 80 grit in there, and we will roll it for another week. Well, it's been 6 weeks. We've been rolling this Wild Horse Picture Jasper in the 1 pound barrel on coarse grit, and the ones in there are all getting really close. This week we've got these 6 little ones that are ready to move on. So that increases our total to, we've got all those ready to move on to the next stage. There's a couple in here that are really, really close. I'm thinking they should be done next week, or if not next week, the week after. A lot of them should be ready. But we've got a room for a little bit more in there in the barrel. So we'll throw a couple more pieces in there. We'll do that. And then we will do 3 tablespoons of the coarse grit. This is the straight, I believe this is 80 grit. Just about out, but we're going to use it up on this. There. So a little bit more rock, 3 tablespoons of the 80 grit, and we're ready to roll for another week. We are at 7 weeks that we have been rolling this Wild Horse Picture Jasper in this 1 pound barrel, and there are a lot of them in there that are really, really close, have one small little imperfection that I'm just trying to be super picky. But after 7 weeks, some of them have been in there 7 weeks, and some of them only been in there 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. We had 4 more done today. 4 little guys. And now we are up to that much after 7 weeks in the 1 pound barrel rolling with 80 grit. So I've already loaded it back up with some more stuff that's going to be on its first week. I've got the water. We've got the 80 grit coarse silicon carbide. And we will put in 3 tablespoons in the 3 pound barrel. And it looks like next week we're going to start rolling it with 4670 because that's what I've got more of, and we're about out of the 80. So, back on the tumbler, another week, and we will check it again next week. Today, the Wild Horse Picture Jasper has been rolling for 8 weeks. Not all of it's been in there 8 weeks, obviously. Some of it's finished, but we've been rolling it in this barrel for 8 weeks. And this was actually a pretty big week. We've got all this stuff that's done. A couple of big pieces there. So, with what we got done this week, we're up to that much done in the 1 pound barrel in 8 weeks. I have been rolling some of this in another barrel that I have, and I'm hoping next week, possibly. There's a lot of stuff in here that's really close, and I've got some stuff in another barrel. We might start the first batch of this in the lotto tumbler and start doing medium and pre-polish and polish and get some finished. But we're 8 weeks in. The barrel's got some room. We're actually kind of running low on it because, like I say, I've been running it in another barrel also. We'll add some new stuff. And we will do 3 more tablespoons of the 80 grit, and it'll roll another week, and we'll be back to check it next week. After 9 weeks on our Wild Horse Picture Jasper, we've got these done this week. So our grand total is up to there. We're getting close to running a batch in the lotto. It's about, I don't know, a third full. I've got a lot in this barrel that are just about done, so I'm actually going to get the grinder out this week, and a lot of them have one little spot that I'm watching. So I'm going to grind those spots down and run them another week on coarse grit, and hopefully next week a lot of them are done, and maybe we'll be able to get a load going in the lotto. So that's where we're at after 9 weeks. It's been 10 weeks on our Wild Horse Picture Jasper in the 1 pound barrel, and these ones are done this week. We've got quite a few, a couple of good sized ones, so we'll add those to our grand total. We're up to there. And I've already topped the barrel off with some more to fill the void of what we've taken out, and we'll put 3 more tablespoons of the coarse grit, and we'll roll them for another week. All right, it's week 11 on our Wild Horse Picture Jasper in the 1 pound barrel. And I've washed through them, and we have all these ready this week. Pretty decent week. There's a couple of good sizes from there, and they're looking nice. So our grand total, we'll put them in with our other bucket. We're getting close. I'm thinking I do have some of this running in my 12 pound barrel that we'll look at in a couple of days. But maybe with that, we'll have enough for a batch. Otherwise, I'm hoping next week we'll be ready to start rolling some in the lotto tumbler. So we've got our water in there, and we've got a few pieces that I pulled out of the 12 pound barrel just to top this 1 pound off for this tumble. That we will top this barrel off. So there's some new pieces that are already started, but they've got some spots that need some work. We got 3 tablespoons of the 4670 grit. And we're ready to go back on the tumbler and roll for another week. We've been rolling our Wild Horse Picture Jasper for 12 weeks now. And this is what we had done this week. We actually had a lot come out of the barrel. And with this from this week and what we've had from the weeks past, I think we have enough to start a batch in the lotto tumbler on medium grit. So today we're going to get that started. So I've got some water in the barrel, and we will add all of our rocks. And all these. Usually always, I shouldn't say usually always, but I usually always run some ceramic media whenever I run my lotto tumbler. So we've got our media in there and our rocks are in there and it's full of water. So I'll cover the top, we'll dump the water out. So everything inside the barrel is wet with no standing water. There we go. I will get the camera moved over to the lotto tumbler and we will get it rolling on medium grit. All right, we're going to go to medium grit on this Wild Horse Picture Jasper. This is the medium grit. It's like 180, 220 grit, silicon carbide, and we will run 2 tablespoons for the lotto barrel. All right, I will probably come back and check it in about an hour or so and see how we're doing on water. If it needs some more, I'll give it a couple shots with a squirt bottle. And possibly add a little bit more ceramic media. I'll see how it looks after a little while. And then after that, I'll check it every 8-10 hours or so and just make sure it's doing good on water, and we'll let it run for 3 days. Today, the Wild Horse Picture Jasper has been in the Lotto tumbler for 3 days on medium grit, the 180-220 silicon carbide. And we're going to rinse it and get it ready to go to pre-polish, which is like 500 silicon carbide. So. Actually want to dump this out. All right, I'll scrub the rocks a little bit more and the barrel, and we will be back to load them up into the medium grit stage. Or I mean, sorry, medium, the pre-polish. So normally, before I pull them out of the barrel, I put in dish soap and extra water, and I run the tumbler for another 20 minutes or half an hour to help clean the slurry off. And today I didn't notice that I forgot to do that until I already started the video. So I can tell you that they definitely rinse better and easier if you do the dish soap and water in the tumbler about 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, before you're going to wash them. Because it took me a little bit longer to rinse the slurry off. It didn't want to come off as easy without doing that soap. So I've learned that that step that I normally do, I forgot today, is helping me. So there's everything washed up. We're ready to load back in the barrel. All right, we're all loaded up. There's water in the barrel. We'll dump out the excess water. right, we'll get over to the tumbler. We'll get the camera moved over there, and we'll get them rolling on pre-polish. On the pre-polish stage, we will run 1 tablespoon of the borax, and it'll be a ½ teaspoon of the 500 grit silicon carbide pre-polish grit. Borax. That's what the 500 grit silicon carbide pre-polish looks like. And there's a ½ teaspoon, that's all it takes. That's one nice thing about the Lotto tumbler, it does not take much grit. And it does an awesome job. There we have it. Borax is in, grit's in. I'll check it in about an hour to see how we're doing on water, and then check it again every 8-10 hours whenever I get out here, and keep an eye on the water and add a couple of squirts if it needs any. And we'll let it roll for 3 days, and we'll be ready to go to polish. All right, our Wild Horse Picture Jasper has been going in pre-polish for 3 days now. And I've already added some extra water and some dish soap to help clean the slurry off. That's all we have. Now when I go from pre-polish to polish, right now I don't spend a ton of time cleaning my rocks. I'm going to rinse them all off real well and just put them right back in, because I'm going to burnish them for a couple of hours to make sure that the barrel is good and clean and the rocks are clean before I go to polish. So I'm just going to hose these off really well. I'll dump them into there and just let everything settle out, and we'll put them right back in the barrel, and we'll do a couple hour burnish cycle. So. Everything's looking really nice. It's the first time I've polished Wild Horse Picture Jasper, but I've seen some online and I thought it looked really nice, so I wanted to try it. None of these rocks have any flaws or cracks in them either, so there really isn't a place for grit to get stuck. So it's a lot faster washing them like that. If you have a lot of imperfections or holes or cracks or whatever in your rocks. You have to pay a lot more attention when you're washing, but all right. All right, I'll load these back on the tumbler with borax, and we'll burnish them for a couple hours. All right, these have ran and burnished for a couple of hours, so we'll rinse them back off and rinse the barrel off, and we're ready to go polish. All right, I'll get the camera set up on the tumbler and we will get them going on the polish stage. All right, we're set up and ready to go. We'll do a tablespoon of borax and a half teaspoon of the 1200 grit aluminum oxide polish, and they'll run for 3 days. That's the borax. That's the 1200 grit aluminum oxide polish. And it doesn't take much. Have a teaspoon. Alright, I'll let it go for an hour or so and come back and check the water. Give it a couple sprays if it needs it, otherwise I'll check it a couple times a day. And make sure it doesn't dry out too much. And it'll go for 3 days. And we'll be done with the polish. Alright, this is how the Wild Horse Picture Jasper looks after its burnish cycle and it dried overnight, so everything's all dry. We'll look at a few of them and then I'll probably take a few pictures and tag them at the end of the video, but they turned out pretty nice. They all took a really nice shine. If I can get the light on there, you can see how nice the shine is. And they've all got some nice patterns, designs and stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. They all turned out real nice. And I still have more of this that I'm tumbling in my 12-pound barrel and stuff, but this is just the first load that was ready to be polished, and we ran it through the lotto. Some of it doesn't have a lot going on. That one's pretty thin, but they still shined up nice. This one's got a lot of blue on it. I kind of like the ones that have more blue. Really happy with the shine. Turned out very nice. It's very picky on when they were ready to move to the next stage, so I found a couple that had a couple small flaws that I missed, but for the most part, none of them have much to speak of as far as flaws go. And they're all mostly about the same. There's some like that one's neat. It looks like it broke, and you can see on this line right here going across there that it broke and it like settled down and then it like rehealed. You can see it on some of them where it looks like it's done that, and it's perfectly smooth. There's no anything there, but they look pretty nice. I really like this stuff. I'm glad that we got some, and we'll add it to our collection. One might be too small to focus. That's fine. Alright, here's another one of my... This one here, you can kind of see how it looks like that section broke and then it settled and it dropped and then it rehealed, and you can see all the fractures in there, but it's all perfectly smooth. It all healed back together into one rock with that design in it, or that pattern. Yeah. So we'll look at a couple more here, and then I might add some pictures like I was saying, and this one will be a wrap. That one's got a little bit of a different look to it. And then some of the blue. I like the way, the bluish green, I guess you would say. It kind of looks bluish green, but alright, we'll look at a couple more here, and then that'll probably be good. Alright, that'll probably do it. They're all pretty similar, and I got a lot of small ones left in there, but I'll probably take some pictures on the end here, and I'd say that this tumble was a success, and we've got a few more to finish up, and then we'll be on to our next project. So if you like this video, please give a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos similar to this and different rocks and stuff, you could subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the stuff that we tumble. Thanks for watching.